Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Inner Conquest channel, the greatest modern metaphysics channel on YouTube, where we are going to talk about everyone is you pushed out today. So when we look at everyone is you pushed out, it's one of the most controversial, one of the most interesting aspects of Neville Goddard's work, because what it really references is your ability to influence, specifically within the holy triarchy of people, places, and circumstances, people. So when you look at people in your reality, right, I always start with fundamentals, because understanding the basic fundamentals is very important, because once the basic fundamentals are understood, all of the different perspectives can be overlaid onto them. So when we talk about what state we're occupying, a state is a amalgamation of consciousness at a certain frequency. So you have, if you look at like Abraham Hicks, the emotional scale, those are a scaling measurement of all of the frequencies and states that you can inhabit. So you could say someone's in a state of enlightenment, right? They're like in the mountaintop or whatever, or somebody's in a state of despair, right? Ooh, no, it's going to get bad. So whatever state you're in is essentially, if you think of a cloud or a mood or an attitude that surrounds you, that state is a state of consciousness. Now, consciousness is awareness. So awareness means a state that you are aware of. So how do you occupy a state? You are aware of the state. So when you place your awareness, it's like putting the sun onto a different state, which then manufactures thoughts, emotions, circumstances, people, and places. So if you're in a state of, wealth, you're going to have wealth circumstances that are manufactured and magnetized to that state. So if you have a state of poverty, you're going to have poverty scenarios that are magnetized to that state. So when we talk about really building a dream life or consciously creating, the first thing that we want to do is we want to remove our attention from the world of effects, which is a third dimensional world external to us. And we want to place the importance and the attention on where we are dominantly residing in a fourth dimensional reality, or where our state is, right? Where our mind is. So if you talk about a mindset, where is our mind set upon? So where are we dwelling chronically? Because that's going to be basically the engine or the powerhouse that pushes out into the world and reflects a third dimensional holographic reality based on the frequency that we're outputting. And the reason that we don't change things outside of us is because we realize that everything outside of us is a mirror that is essentially calibrated to the frequency of which we are putting out. So if we can dominantly shift a state, that is much better than getting one check in the mail or trying to get a new job or trying to get this one person to text you back, right? Because if you have the state chronically locked in, now the state is the manufacturing powerhouse of reality. And what happens is the universe and the holographic matrix outside of you is constantly showing you who you are. So it's really important to change that state permanently and dominantly, because everywhere you go, you are that person, and the universe is a slave to that state and has to reflect those different frequency patterns that you're emitting. So when you look at everyone as you pushed out, what that really means is that if you are in a state of anger, say you walk into a bar, right, and you're super, super angry. You can everybody can feel it. You're just like, you're about to go crazy. I'm sure you've been in an environment where you feel someone's energy before they actually walk into the room or even say anything. You're like, whoa, something's up with that guy. Like, watch that guy, right? If you think about that, from your perspective, did you have free will in that moment when that person walked in and was angry? Did you go, what am I going to do? Okay, this energy is here. I'm going to, out of all of the words that I know in my brain, I'm going to say, hey, we should watch that guy over there because that's what I want to say right now. No, you reacted to that energy because it was so powerful and so potent. So when you have a state that is dominant, people are going to be mirrors to that state. They're going to show you what state you're in. And it's one of the most useful things to know about conscious creation, because number one, it decreases the importance on what people do around you. Number two, it gives you a flight gauge of the state that you're in. So if you're in a state and people are acting a certain way, one of the telltale ways that you know that you have changed your state is that they start to act differently. So when they say no one has free will in your reality, it's not that they don't have free will in their realities. It's in your reality. The dominant frequency that you emit is exclusively the bandwidth that they can meet you on, meaning that they can only resonate with the frequency that you are outputting. So when you want to change a person, it's not that you go and you change that person, you change the perspective frequency that you emit and cast onto that person, knowing that they will either resonate with that frequency or a new version of them will have to come in to be compatible with the way that you are now shifting that perspective. So when you go through a process like revision, say you have something where you had somebody cheat on you, right? And so every single day you're looping this memory, which is in the current moment, of that person doing something to you, right? Strip that apart, depersonalize it, and take it from a base mechanical standpoint. That event of them cheating on you was a reflector mirror of a state that you were in. Maybe you were in a state of worry or fear that something bad was going to happen, and boom, that state manufactured, like it does, precisely the exact manifestation that matches that frequency. Boom. Okay. So what happens is now you have gone through that event. That event cannot be changed. But what can be changed is now in your reality, you keep replaying that bad memory. So that is a locked in frequency pattern. So if you think of yourself as a center of consciousness, you have a fourth dimensional mindscape. Everything goes from subtle to gross. So subtle means very light. It's like mental imagery, it's affirmations in your mind, it's the immaterium, it's the things in your mind that are subtle, energetic fabric fibers, right? Like a thought is much more subtle than a physicalized reality. So when I think of a picture of a bike, that's a subtle reality. When I ride and touch a bike, that is a gross reality because it has more energetic focus, it's more crystallized, it's not as malleable, it is more gross in that it is built out in the third dimensional world. So when you have an image in your mind, excuse me, of somebody, having a bad experience with you and you keep looping it, what you're doing is you're creating a negative feedback loop within that habitual pattern in your mind field. So when you revise something, what you would do is you would change that event in your mind to be the way that you want it to be, and you would start to loop that mind repeating visualization as if it happened the way you wanted it to, not to change the past event, but to change your current event right now from a frequency standpoint. Because if you change the dynamics and revise it in a way to where it looks, feels, and is the way you want it to be, it will lock in your frequency pattern to a favorable future, meaning that your frequency is the most important thing, because your frequency is like the projector, right? Like if you're in a theater, your frequency and your attention is the projector, and you get to shine that projector on whatever you want. So if you can shine that projector exclusively on wanted things, number one, your life gets way more enjoyable because you're only seeing things that you want to see. Secondly, your frequency pattern will get locked into a wanted vibration, meaning that, if I'm on 92.1, things on 92.3 are not frequency compatible with me. So when I'm on 92.2 and 92.2 is exclusively wanted things, now I'm projecting and emitting a state and energy frequency of everything that I want, and knowing that the universe is a holographic reality, now that universe has to meet that frequency. It doesn't have a choice, right? It's a mechanical universe. It is not a universe with free will that is out to get you or out to support you. It is simply reflecting who you are and who you are being. So that's why changing that state when you get into conscious creation is the number one priority, because that is the manufacturing warehouse of all of your experience. Additionally, you could equate it to if you have an Amazon product code. Say you're in an Amazon warehouse and you want to get a purple lamp, right? So you look in your Amazon smartphone and you see purple lamp is code 00117, right? So 00117, you're not going to put in 001.9. 00246. You're gonna say 00117. You're gonna hold that, and then you're going to look around the warehouse, and you're going to go 001.7, 001.7. Oh, there's my purple lamp. Boom, got it, right? So when you do that, what you're doing is you're locking into that frequency. You're giving the universe time to coordinate all of the things that it needs to coordinate, and then it's going to bring you exactly that frequency. But your job is to just hold dominantly that state, that frequency, and emit properly what you want, and then let things like law of attraction magnetize those things to your output. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys want coaching, click the link tree. Other than that, go conquer.